Alright, so since you guys were last here, a few things changed. Last video you guys saw was me making the window on my door, and I mentioned that my phone was dying. I had to let it charge pretty much the entire afternoon, also through the night, because it was really dead. I was at 4%, and that was a pretty big safety hazard, so I didn't want to film anything else. So sadly, you guys missed out on a few little things. But as you guys saw, I mean, it probably took about half an hour to build all this. My dad came and he helped me to bring all the wood. It was a whole lot easier because we actually have a canoe, and we put all the wood in the canoe and pushed it through the swamp. So it's faster. It's a little bit more tiring, but I mean it's way faster because you have to push the canoe through the reeds and all the tall grass, and then you hit a little bit of water, so you have to push yourself with the oar. Plus all the weight of the wood. There's like 500-600 pounds of wood in there. But yeah, so we had to bring 3 11-foot planks to do the front porch. I brought one myself, so the canoe there was 2, and the planks to do the roofing here. I had to bring 6 in total. So yeah, I mean it was pretty easy. Like I said, these are, if anybody's wondering, I did them for my sawmill that I mentioned, I think, in a previous video that I bought. I bought a little sawmill to go on my chainsaw. I left a live edge on. I just did it as simple as possible. I didn't want, it to be super complicated or anything. So I left the bark on each side. The planks, I didn't want them to make it perfectly square or anything, because I find it's a super big waste of material. The logs just get eaten up. Let's say if you have like a 20-inch log and you cut off, let's say like 3 inches from each side, you'll be left with like a 15-inch, 14-inch timber. When you started with this and then you finish with something that's like this, it's a huge waste to me. So I didn't want to do any of that. And I knew, I wasn't building like a mansion or anything. It was for a front porch and a roof. It doesn't matter if they're stuck one another or anything. So that was the best plan for me. So yeah, I'll give you guys a closer look of what it looks like. It's really not that complicated. So 6-foot planks pretty much just for the top. I have some that I brought that are right inside the cabin here, but they were too short. The tree trunk, I cut it too short, so they didn't really work. It was like just a perfect fit, and I wanted some overhang, so it didn't work too well. So these are about, I think, like 69 inches, I think, so just say like 6 feet planks on the top. And at the bottom here, I cut them at 8 feet and 11 inches, I think it was, and they are 1 inch thick planks that I measured with the sawmill, give or take. So yeah, pretty happy with the outcome. I'll give you guys an inside look of what it looks like from over here, and an outside look from where you guys are right now. Okay, so as you can see, I mean, the planks are about 20 inches wide, and the fattest part's like this last one right here is massive. It's super wide, it's right under 2 feet, I think. That's why I only need 3 planks. You can see that there is some cracks here. Don't care, it's just going to make it rot a whole lot less. If there is anything, these are screwed in, I can just unscrew them, no big deal. But it really just doesn't bother me. There is 2 supports on each end, 2 beams, and 1 right down the middle. And this one here, the end one, has a horizontal support going right here. So there really isn't no flex at all. There's barely anything, which, is good. Pretty much what I wanted. I don't want anything super flimsy. So that's good, even if, if it bends a little bit, the wood gets moist, it dries, like wood does from season to season. I really don't care. Now for the roof part of it. So this one was a little bit more tricky because we had to lift the tin up, screw them down on both ends, and then had to figure out somehow how to bolt them in here, all while getting the plank as close as possible to the ridge pole in the middle. So we decided to just bolt them down from underneath. They are we're in Canada, so I mean it's a square head 3-inch 10. I don't know if it's like a 10 gauge usually. I think it is, but they're pretty big screws, 3-inch, 10 gauge, really big, really strong, a whole lot stronger than the little dinky like 8 gauges that what you're like usually your deck screws. That's what they are that you use on your pool deck or whatever you have in your backyard. That's usually what they are. I took another grade bigger than that just to be safe. This too, I mean, it's going to be really good for snow. There's no flex at all in here. The planks are way too short just to have some flex. They are also pretty thick at 1 inch, so I really have no worries at all. This cabin is super sturdy. One of the few things I'd like to try now just to finish off the cabin would be, and I think that's going to be this winter that I'll do it with a sleigh. I have a whole lot of bags of peat moss or just black gardening dirt. I will try to throw like a few inches, maybe like 2-3 inches on here on the roof, just everywhere. I already have the dirt, so it's not going to cost me anything. But just put like just a little amount. Even if some falls off, I don't care. Then I'll buy some cheap grass seeds. I'll just throw it on top, and if it catches, it catches. If it doesn't, I'll just take like a snow shovel and clean off the roof. But I think it would look pretty cool. It would add a little bit of insulation value. I know that some people put like thick sod or really like a super like thick layer of moss, but the thing with that is that I think it's about like 500 pounds per cubic meter. I think it is something like that. So it adds a whole lot of weight, especially when it's wet. And then it's wet. It gets icy, it freezes, and then there's snow on top of it, so it gets really heavy. I'm not really scared for my cabin, but I'd just rather be safe. I know that there's not a lot of snow on my roof, so I have this big pine here, which I'm not really worried about. But yeah, that would be probably one of the last things that I would do to just finish off the cabin somehow. So far, here's my little cabin. Here's the inside. I have my pack basket there in the front. Rifles on the wall. I keep my lantern hung right there in the middle. During the day, I'll move it over. But now it's 10:45, and it's about, I would say, I checked this morning at 8 o'clock, and it was 5 degrees outside. So we're in September, and it's already 5 degrees, so that means winter is probably coming pretty quick. So the little lantern kind of provides me with a little bit of heat. At night it's probably about like 15 degrees in here. I came yesterday, we left, it was about 7:30, 8 o'clock, it was dark. So it still provides a little bit of heat, but a whole lot of light, which I like. It works on just white camp fuel, which is really good. I put just the Coleman brand in it. I have my wood stacked up on both sides. I would need some newspaper and stuff that I have to bring to start the fire. Yeah, I pretty much have everything that I would need. I have my little cot in here. I would also like a different cot, but I mean, it is what it is. If ever I find one, or maybe I'll just build one, I think. Yeah, so far, that's that. I like how the inside looks. It looks clean. I finished most of the caulking yesterday. I didn't add any behind the firewood, or let's just say the fire stove, my wood stove, where you see like the white tin is, the heat shield. I didn't want to add any behind there just in case it gets too hot and it starts like melting and stinking up the whole place. So I just didn't add any. So I think that was maybe a smart move. I have a whole lot behind it. On the outside, I put a thick layer everywhere on the back wall. But I mean, I think that was a smart move. I'm not sure I'll see this winter. I mean, what happens? So yeah, now gotta get to work again.